Hey everyone, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. We're gonna do a total drama video here. I, I didn't really want to, but it's just too juicy. We've got Tom King, public figure. This is Twitter drama at its finest, and I'll tell you, it's probably the tip of the iceberg, really, of what is going on under the surface here. Not everything is public, but there's enough that it's kind of funny. All right, so we're gonna get into this Tom King grandstanding yet again. First, let me remind you that Fatals on Indiegogo, we're less than $100 away from hitting $87,000, which is a fantastic benchmark. So please back the project, help us to reach that 90K stretch goal. Lots of great stuff. And if you've already backed it, why don't you pick up a t-shirt? You can pick up let's see, the print pack. That's another great option. Or get yourself a head sketch by Charlie Snogans. All of those are great options. um, Downcast is also available even for new readers. People have asked about this. Volume 1 and Volume 2 for as low as $35 catches you up on the story. Way over 100 pages of story content for 35 bucks. Great deal, actually. All right, so Tom King has been doing some grandstanding, and it's just like you know some people shouldn't be on Twitter, and I think Tom King is one of those people, because once he starts to get into things, it just makes it worse. It makes it worse for him and everyone else around. In this case, I mean, maybe you remember when he grandstanded over Jay Lee doing a cover on a book that he was on. And because he's written a book, he thinks he has full control over everybody that else that's working there, even though DC technically is paying the bills. You're not. Tom King is not paying the bills. If this was creator owned stuff, sure, you're calling the shots, but it's not. You are also work for hire. It is not your story. You might have written it, but it's not yours. That's one of the downsides to working for DC. But he wants to have his cake and eat it too. So Jay Lee was just one example of a creator, of somebody working on a book that was a book that he had written that he wanted to control and he wanted to cancel. Okay, behind the scenes, or maybe not so much behind the scenes, but he's done this in the past. Okay, so he's posted here on Twitter, says the transcendent, brilliant, visionary editor Mark Doyle is leaving DC this week. I would not have a career without Mark. He gave me my first gig, my first ongoing, made me take insane risks on big stages in every genre. He tirelessly pushed comics to be better. A true legend. And then here's a response from Tom Brevoort, who says, didn't you force him off the Batman titles and then crow about it in an interview? It's a bit odious to cry over bodies when you had a hand in killing them. Savage. I need that meme. I should have prepared this, guys. The meme of all the guys standing in the group like, oh, that's exactly what happened here. Uh, Tom Brevoort would not want me to say that, I'm sure. Uh, anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the pool that they're swimming in. Okay, so Tom King, is that true? Did Tom King push Mark Doyle off the bus at DC? Is it his fault? And now he's trying to look good after the damage has been done. Draw and talk. He says yes. Tom. Let's see. King's run on Batman went to crap after he basically fired Mark from the title. Is that when things changed? Well, let's look back in the Wayback Machine here. This is to September 8th, 2017. This was on Bleeding Cool. I think it originated somewhere else, but Tom King had been talking about his newfound power. And basically, what it came down to is that Mark and Tom were working together on Batman. And uh, Tom King wanted Dave Finch to draw this scene because it was so important. This is when all of the love you bat cat nonsense started. This is when all of this started. Uh, and so was this a good thing? I don't know, but here it is in his own words. Batman number 24. There are two editors listed for that book. We switched editors halfway through. It's not normal. It's very weird. Well, why is it weird, Tom? Tell us. I got in a big fight with my editor about it. An editor I love, Mark Doyle. He wanted to bring in an artist on it who had not worked on the book before. I knew it was this big moment. Batman proposing to Catwoman, you're going to turn on Twitter. There is going to be that stupid image. Stupid image. He's already planning on it being a stupid image. I want this to be an image with David Finch. I want him to draw this issue. No, David is too busy going on vacation. This is from Mark Doyle, his editor, who, I mean, you got to say these are pretty reasonable things. David Finch can't do it. He's busy. But you know what Tom King did? He pulled a "Don't you know who I am?" He said, "Just call him." We got in a big fight over it. And in the end, we switched editors and got David. That's how we brought Jamie Rich on the book. They switched editors and they got David. What does that mean? That means that his editor lost his position. He lost his job as editor of the Batman stories. That's prestigious. He lost it and he traded it out for somebody that would do what he wanted, which was get David Finch to draw this single page. Essentially, it was all about seeing this page on Twitter. That's what he said. Okay, he continues here. That's something I could not do earlier in my career. Say I'm putting my foot down. That's something you can only say when you've had a lot of success. When you first come in, you have no power at all. You are at the whim of your editors who are in control of whether you eat this day. All right, so I'll tell you this. Having control over your own creation, if you're writing something, you want to have more say on the story. I get that. I get the desire to want to do that. I get that. But the problem is you got to pick your hill to die on. Having one specific artist, David Finch, to draw this particular issue because you're worried about seeing it so often on Twitter, that it's got to be David Finch that draws this page. What other pages could David Finch be drawing? But this is the one that he needed so badly. Lots of standing around and talking in that issue. And, David Finch did it. He did it because he wanted to look good on Twitter. That's what he said. That's the hill he died on. He wanted to die on, only he didn't die on that. Shortly after that, Mark Doyle would leave Batman and Jamie Rich take his place. That meant the issue was credited as edited by both Doyle and Rich, described by King as an unusual situation. In fact, the shared editorial credit got extended to the previous issue, as presumably Rich had some extra work to do on that and a few issues subsequent, presumably reflecting work Doyle had already done on that, and then just Rich thereon. All right, so he was gone. Okay, so there's a lot of this going around, and a lot of it's just fake. I think Twitter's it's almost the worst thing for comic book professionals because it's supposedly the public face, but this industry is so small. Everybody remembers, everybody knows what's going on. So who are you really performing for? I don't know. Anybody that knows who Mark Doyle is, knows who your editor was on Batman, is going to know some of this history. Just wild. So no response from Tom King to that. Everyone is upset. Just cracking me up. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this and Tom King and Mark Doyle. He's gone. Would it have changed had he still been editing Batman? If he was the editor on Batman, if he didn't have a man baby throwing a fit over him working on there and having an opinion, that's what he was paid to do, by the way. If he was still working on Batman, would DC have let him go? And that's sort of the question. That's what it comes down to. And I think Tom King wants to feel better about it, as though it doesn't matter. But maybe it does. If you're the one that got him pushed off and lost this job, why not else? I think he also said in here somewhere that. Sorry, now I'm going back. He said in here somewhere that editors decide if you eat or don't. They're in charge. And so now that he has the power, he can put his foot down. Well, I guess that's just power going to your head. Also, the power to get, you thought, to get someone like Jay Lee kicked off doing a cover or doing covers forever for DC. Like you could put your foot down. You're big enough. I think if power goes to your head that much, you shouldn't have power. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to check out Fatal and Indiegogo. Back it, help us. It's gonna feel real good to hit $87,000. Something about that number 7. It's great. And then Downcast is still available if you're interested in picking that up as well. And I will see you in the next video.